Hey everyone, Shin here. So I did a kind of a review reaction thing of all the warrior changes they previewed in the August 8th Ready Up / skill bar, whatever you want to call it. And for whatever reason, I can't find that part of the VOD for the stream, so I figured, screw it, I'll just do a YouTube video, put it on here, I can post-process it, clean it up a bit more. All the video in the background is really just kind of extra footage I've had laying around, so it's not really indicative of anything I'm talking about, it's just kind of there to have video. I'm just going to run through these kind of quick. I'll give a little bit of reasoning why I think some are good or decent or whatever as I go along, but I kind of want to make it faster than the stream version simply because I dawdled a lot and rambled. So I'll just go down in the order that they did them in on the Ready Up. First one is the adrenaline system for warriors is getting a decent rework. What's happening is now if you whiff a burst skill, if you miss with it, you don't connect, you will lose all your adrenaline. This is a hand-holding mechanic that has been in the game since launch, and I've hated it, and it has bothered me since its inception. So what this will do, I'm happy it's being removed. It will better differentiate the good players, the good warrior players, from the bad, because the bad ones will just spam their burst skill, waste their adrenaline, which means they'll lose out on adrenal health, they'll lose out on the ability to swap to their other weapon and use that burst skill, whereas the good players will know when to use their adrenaline. You'll actually have to think about when to use your burst skill. You have to be smart about that type of gameplay, and I like that. It rewards skillful gameplay. Related to this, when you leave combat, your adrenaline will immediately start decaying. This will prevent us from keeping, you know, an eviscerate on standby for our next fight, or an Earthshaker. Like when you're moving between points in SPVP, or you're roaming around World, you just killed someone who came out of a fight successful. Right now, you've got the adrenaline loaded up for another burst skill that you can just open up on someone, and it's always, to me anyway, it always felt kind of like cheating, because you're like, oh, I can bust this skill that I'm supposed to have ready after fighting with you for a bit. So that one's going away. I'm fine with that. Rousing Resilience is getting its duration doubled for the same reasons as I said in the initial analysis of it when the Grandmasters came out in the feature pack. I still don't really like Rousing Resilience because of things like Endure Pain making it redundant, or stability making it pointless after you've initially broken it. For those who don't know what Rousing Resilience is, it's 1000 toughness when you break a stun. It'll make it better for the builds that run it. It'll make it a bit more worthy of being a Grandmaster, but I still personally don't like Rousing Resilience, but that's me. It's a good change. It'll make it a bit better. Then the next change I'm actually really interested in testing, which is Brawler's Recovery. Right now, it's just you remove a blind when you swap your weapons, which you can do with an auto attack or a damage sigil when you swap. The change they previewed was it will remove a Condi, not just blind, but any condition. It'll remove one of them whenever you swap weapons. That's a Condi clear every 5 seconds, because you're going to have fast hands going that deep into Discipline anyway. It's the newest Grandmaster in Discipline. It's something I really want to test. I really want to try this out myself, but of course, they're previews. They're not going to be coming around for a little bit. But this is one I'm genuinely interested in trying out, genuinely interested in seeing in action when it comes out, because one condition clear every 5 seconds for a warrior is huge. Condition clearing in general for a warrior is huge. The next few changes all happen on the Greatsword. The initial strikes for 100 Blades and Whirlwind Attack are getting reduced by 5%. Had they not previewed what they're doing with the burst skill for Greatsword, I'd be a little confused as to why they're just randomly nerfing damage on it. I mean, it does a lot of damage as it is, but maybe they decided something was a little ridiculous. I wouldn't have known without seeing the burst skill. Keep in mind that the nerf to 100 Blades is only to the channeled strikes. The final strike is staying the same. The final strike is still going to do its normal damage right now. But the reduction in the rest of those skills' damage makes sense when you take into consideration what they're doing with Arcing Slice. Right now, Arcing Slice is just a single target strike that does mediocre damage and gives us a bunch of fury. Woo. But what they're doing with Arcing Slice after the patch is they are changing it to an AoE cleave, similar to what Whirling Attack is. They're going to still have it give fury, and here's the best part. It's going to do more damage to targets under half health. And going by the tooltips, in the actual skill bar footage, it's going to be double damage. Double damage against targets under half health. I mean, yeah, they can tweak the numbers. It might not end up being that when it releases, but as of right now, from what I saw, it's double damage on targets under half health, and that is amazing as far as I'm concerned. Taking Arcing Slice from what it is now and making it what they're turning it into, I love it. I love it. It'll make Arcing Slice a really cool ability, as far as I'm concerned anyway. The next change was Signet of Rage, the boons on the active. The Fury, the Might, and the Swiftness are getting reduced by 5 seconds, so it'll be 25 seconds instead of 30. But on the flip side, they are making the passive Adrenaline generation go up by 50% per tick. So what I see in this is they're making more, they're putting more decision making into using our skills. Signet of Rage right now is just a cooldown we pop, and it's like, ooh, Signet of Rage is up, better pop it for those free boons. But now, since Adrenaline is going to be more valuable to us warriors, and they're also reducing the duration of those boons, it's going to make us think, it's like, okay, do I want to give up that Adrenaline generation, which would prevent me from getting my burst skill as fast, in exchange for these boons, or do I want to keep it there and then be able to burst skill more often? I like it. More skillful gameplay. I'm all for it. The next change was the rifle auto attack is no longer going to bleed. They're just baking that into the burst damage of the skill. They're getting rid of the kind of weird state of rifle Kandi. They're saying, okay, rifle is a ranged burst weapon. Go for it. Right now, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's burst, but it's got some Kandi damage in there, just cause. Woo. At the same time, they're also making the auto attack give you more adrenaline when you hit targets that have vulnerability on it. This synergizes with the number 4 on the rifle, which applies a bunch of vulnerability. We have things like On My Mark, which give vulnerability. You've got everyone else who can apply vulnerability. So this will be nice for kill shot warriors. The next change that they said was X number 5, Whirling Axe, is getting a bunch of nice buffs. It's having its damage go up by 17% and its cooldown reduced to 15 seconds. Hopefully this will make Offhand Axe not as terrible as it is right now. I mean, it's cool, it's fun, it builds adrenaline fast, but it just doesn't do enough. You're giving up too much over like the shield or the Warhorn to really warrant using Offhand Axe right now. Hopefully this change will make it better, make it worth running more. I like it. I like dual wield axing because it's cool, it's fun, it looks badass, it's fine by me. I like the change. Makes more things viable. The next change they said was the Mace auto attack number 3 is going to be faster, which will make Mace feel less clunky. I'm fine by it. It's probably the reason why I don't run Mace right now is because the auto attack feels clunky. Cool, faster weakness application for those who are using it for that. It'll just make Mace feel better all around. Next one, Impale. The torment duration is getting reduced. Fine by me. Our Kandi builds are still a little ridiculous because we can have like 100% uptime and over 100% uptime on torment. It's fine by me. We need a nerf to our ridiculous Kandi build sometimes. It already get hit pretty hard in the feature patch, but this is hitting it more so, and I'm fine with it. Signet of Might, the unblockable aspect of it is going from 5 charges to 6 seconds of just a buff. Fine by me. I guess it makes sense. I guess it's a buff to people who are using Signet of Might. I personally don't use it. It'll help with things like 100 Blades where you're striking several times, which would eat through that buff, and then your final strike wouldn't be affected by it, and it would still be blockable. This will make it so you can 100 Blades and have the entire thing be unblockable. Fine by me. Cool change. Berserker Stance, they're reducing the amount of adrenaline you gain from it down to a total of 3 bars, so a total of a full burst skill's worth of adrenaline. Right now, it gives like 5 bars, I think is what Carl said, and it's a little ridiculous because if you can pop Berserker Stance, hit someone with a burst skill, continue fighting, switch to your other weapon, and by then you've got another burst skill's worth of adrenaline ready. It's a little ridiculous how fast this thing generates adrenaline right now. It gives you a full bar of adrenaline every 2 seconds in its current state. It's a little ridiculous. It's cool, I like it. It nerfs Berserker Stance, which needs to happen. It also needs to be nerfed in duration as far as I'm concerned, but that's another topic. Whatever. I think it's a cool change. The next change, Banners Sprint, the number 4 on Warrior banners, all of the banners. it's going to not attack, it's not going to strike anymore, but instead it's going to remove cripple and chill from you while you're using it. Perfectly fine by me, because I didn't use that skill for striking people anyway. The damage was pretty bad as far as I was concerned. Giving that up for a free snare removal, perfectly happy. Perfectly happy for that, because it allows me to move those banners more easily. Final few changes they previewed were all things to deal with Rampage. First, it's going to have 25% burst damage reduction, which is basically a miniature version of protection, which is fantastic because you need that while you're running Rampage, because you can't use any of your utilities and your skills are changed to pretty much just offensive skills. That's cool. They're also basically baking in a Dog March into the skill baseline. For those who don't know what Dog March is, it reduces the duration of cripple, chill, and immobilize by a third. This will stack with the actual Dog March, so if you pop Rampage while running Dog March, you're going to have 66% reduction, and then throw on like whole rack runes or food in World to World or something, and you have snare immunity. It's something I love because it allows me to get to my targets and not get kited for days. I'm happy for this change. The last one was the throw boulder on Rampage. He's going to fly faster now, which is going to make it so we can hit targets more easily. Fine by me, because that's what Rampage needs to do, is it needs to CC targets while you're fighting them. That's the whole point of Rampage, is to just become a Juggernaut and then CC your opponents into the dirt. Remember, this is all on top of the fact that Rampage still has 20 seconds of stability and doubling your health, roughly. I have 41,000 when I'm running it. These changes will make Rampage a lot more appealing. I'm perfectly fine with it. And on a final side note that I found on Reddit, doesn't have anything to do with the balance updates, but it's still worth mentioning, they're working on a new SPVP game mode. I am absolutely stoked to hear that. I can't wait. So, we'll see. They put it on the official forums, so it's coming. The source is a net, so credible source, yeah. Anywho, that was me talking about my impressions, my reactions to the previewed warrior changes. Remember, these aren't necessarily all of them. These could change. We don't know. We'll have to see. But those are my reactions to it. So, thanks everyone for listening, and I'll catch you next time.